glory.
Well, then my appreciation, amigo.
Casual mode. The final frontier. The place where 95% of all Team Fortress 2 games are played. And although great focus has been placed on improving its gameplay experience and team balancing, there is still one glaring, monstrous, tremendous, huge issue with it. That it needs an entire video dedicated how to fix it. That is a limit to how many players can play each class.
If you've played, say, at least 5 games of casual, odds are you've probably been on at least one team that has just absolutely steamrolled the other end of the ground. Or you've been on the receiving end of the Painful Express yourself. I'm just going to come right out and say that part of the reason for that is that casual doesn't have a limit on how many people can play any one class. Meaning, if all 12 people on your team want to go medic, you're going to have one hell of an uber chain, but all the invulnerability in the world isn't going to protect you from those air blasting pyros, and the fact that 12 medics have absolutely no firepower. The problem with casual isn't necessarily people of significantly higher skill than others being matched in the same game with each other anymore. It still is a little bit, but Blue Moon kind of fixed that for the most part. The problem is that anyone can play any class at any time. For example, let's take a look at Highlander, the most popular type of competitive play for Team Fortress 2. In Highlander games, there are 9 players on each team, and each team is limited to 1 of each class at all times. I understand why 6s exist, but if I'm being honest, I would much rather Highlander be the competitive game type that the matchmaking system played, because I think a lot more people would be inclined to play it. I know I would. But that isn't the topic of this video. Let's get back to that. A casual TF2 game is 12 versus 12, with no limits on which classes can be played or how many of any one class. This presents a problem with the balancing of the game, regardless of the skill of the players who are playing. Team Fortress 2 has 9 classes for a reason. Each one of them has a very specific role to the team. If your team has too much of one thing, it's going to be lacking something else it needs. All of these classes fall on a spectrum that has 2 ends, damage and support. The classes all synergize off each other, some more than others, in a way that allows them to accomplish the objective of the game. If your team has 4 spies, the odds are those 4 spies are stepping on each other's toes and getting each other caught, so that none of them are accomplishing anything. And if they're some of the coolest pub spies we all know and love, they're probably getting themselves caught too. Doesn't matter if you have 4 UGC plat spies all on the same team playing spy at the same time. The odds of them being able to accomplish anything significant for their team is going to be next to nothing. If your team has 3 or more scouts or snipers, you'll have 3 spongy classes that are only good for either hit and run burst damage or long range elimination. None of which helps the overall flow of the game unless it's coupled with actual power classes able to back up the support they bring to the table. If your team has 3 or more heavies, soldiers, pyros, and demos, sure you'll have a lot of damage, but you won't have any support to back up that damage, and that damage will eventually be outclassed by utility. Your team is going to be so busy and distracted putting all that damage downrange that they're not going to realize there's a spy behind them, and that spy is about to have the chain stab of his life. Or a good sniper is going to headshot you all from a safe distance. Not only is at least a quarter of your team not helping, but you're also going to be missing a medic or an engineer or a soldier or anything. If your team has 4 scouts, snipers, heavies, 4 of any class is going to be a bad time. 3 of any class is a bad time, except maybe soldier, but even on that, 3 is the absolute limit. On the same token, if you have too many support classes, you're not going to have enough firepower to keep the other team from eventually spawn camping you in the next time zone. That's why a balance needs to be maintained between damage and support. Additionally, the ability to stack classes has a detrimental effect on new players who are learning the game. If you have the freedom to go sniper, or spy, or scout, or anything whenever you want, you won't ever learn the other classes and playstyles that might be better suited to helping your team in whatever situation they're in. I mean, I know when people say they main a class, it's objectively the class they play the most and enjoy the most, but that doesn't mean they don't ever play the other 8 classes. Which is why I propose that in casual mode, teams are limited to having no more than 2 of any one class. This limitation will not only force players to actually play a class that might be beneficial for their team, but will throw the balancing of the game back into order. This will also limit the ability of... On maps where the defending team has significant advantages like 2-4, blast on upward, bad water, pretty much all of 5 CP really, having 3 or 4 engineers being backed up by pyros and other power classes is an extremely effective strategy, and one that unless you have at least 2 Ubers in your entire team that all pile in at the same time is going to be impossible to break the hold. If you're limited to 2 engineers, not only are you limited to 2 server-side aimbots, You're limiting the amount of cooperative engineering that can occur, while not discouraging the activity entirely. So, let's summarize all this.
Epilogue.
It would not be fair to end this video without acknowledging that there is a legitimate counter-argument to adding class limits to casual, and that is the fact that it is a casual environment. But just because the game isn't as serious as the UGC Platinum Grand Finals, doesn't mean that it can't be structured in a way that not only fosters a much better environment for new players to learn in, but in the long haul will create more fair and balanced casual games overall. If in casual, you are limited to having 2 of each class, sure, you may be sacrificing the ability to carry on a 12-minute Uber chain, but in all honesty, if the net result is me getting more fun and balanced games overall, it's a price worth paying. Thanks.